Back in the day, when Lil Wayne was a baby-faced teenager, Mannie Fresh emerged as the creative powerhouse steering Cash Money's musical trajectory. While it might seem improbable in today's context, it was Fresh's resonant 808s and lively bass lines that served as the cornerstone for the early catalog of Cash Money Records. In the mid-1990s, Mannie forged a pivotal connection with Cash Money CEO Bryan "Birdman" Williams, leading him to join the label as its in-house producer. In 2005, Fresh parted ways with the record label, but during his prime, he gained renown for his unique country sound and spontaneous ad-libs that added an extra layer of excitement to the songs he produced. Chart toppers such as Juvenile's Ha, BG's Bling Bling, and Lil Wayne's Go DJ vividly showcased Fresh's distinctive sonic signature. Mannie Fresh transitioned from being the exclusive producer and beat-making sensation at Cash Money Records to becoming the label's outsider, engaged in a fierce battle for the royalties owed for the music he crafted. His production played a pivotal role in propelling the careers of Hot Boy members, as he once took on the sole responsibility of producing all their solo and group projects. He was the major driving force for the success of the second generation of Cash Money Records. In one of his interviews, Fresh reflected on the transformation brought about by the influence of money at Cash Money Records. According to him, the evils of money changed things at Cash Money Records. The initial Cash Money generation, featuring artists such as Lil Slim, Magnolia Shorty, Miss T, UNLV, and others, was deeply rooted in bounce music. The second generation, which included talents like Juvenile, Lil Wayne, Big Timers, Turk, and BG, marked a shift. Initially driven by a genuine passion for music, the early Cash Money sessions, especially during the Hot Boys era, were characterized by an intense focus on the studio. The young artists, fueled by an insatiable hunger for success, dedicated themselves to recording an average of 3 to 4 songs every day. They were aware of the potential for success, but couldn't fathom just how successful they would become. Amongst the artists, no one envisioned that this venture was going to be a million-dollar enterprise. The young men were simply immersed in their passion, not giving much thought to the millions pouring into the label. However, the allure of money, along with individuals driven by a love for wealth, entered the scene. Opportunists, observing the substantial earnings, and approached the artists to assume managerial roles. They highlighted various issues supposedly mishandled at Cash Money Records, bringing attention to financial matters that the young artists had initially overlooked. This gave rise to a significant problem within Cash Money Records. The tight-knit family culture that once defined Cash Money Records had dissipated. In the early days, Mannie Fresh focused solely on crafting beats and producing music. Artists freely featured on each other's tracks without any complications. Wayne could effortlessly drop a verse on Juvie's song without a second thought. However, this camaraderie changed as individual artists began securing separate management. The shift meant that collaborations, like Turk featuring on BG's song, now required meticulous negotiations regarding financial arrangements and other details. In the earlier days, marked by successes such as the Guerrilla Warfare album and hits like Juvie's Aha and Shake That Ass, nobody was concerned about who featured on whose album. The essence of Cash Money's success was rooted in a collective effort, where everyone worked together to ensure the excellence of one artist's album. In the early days, crafting an album for someone like Wayne involved a collaborative process, incorporating ideas from Juvenile, BG Mannie Fresh, Baby, and his brother Slim. However, this collaborative spirit underwent a profound change. The once unified approach, where every member contributed to shaping an artist's album, was no longer the norm. Cracks in the foundation became evident, and the first fracture in the Hot Boys era occurred when Juvenile decided to part ways with Cash Money. Seeking legal counsel, he had his contract scrutinized and was advised that he was not receiving the compensation he deserved. Creative differences had previously caused friction between Fresh and Juvenile, making it less surprising when, after leaving Cash Money Records, Juvenile, in a magazine interview, characterized Fresh as a militant producer who sometimes was unwilling to entertain the ideas of others. Undeterred by the criticism, Mannie Fresh remained steadfast in his focus on his craft, creating beats and producing music. The emergence of the big timers with the hit song "Still Fly" effectively silenced the skeptics. However, the satisfaction was short-lived as Fresh began to grapple with mounting frustrations. Despite his tireless efforts in the studio, where he continuously crafted beats and produced songs, he found himself shouldering an immense workload. While his fellow artists reveled in the luxuries of life, moving around in Bentleys, Fresh was left grappling with the realization that he was not only overworked but also underpaid. The absence of royalties compounded the issue, with Fresh receiving only nominal paychecks for his extensive contributions. The discontent deepened as BG departed from Cash Money Records. This departure hit Fresh harder than Juvenile's exit, as he shared a closer bond with BG. The challenges of unequal compensation and a growing sense of underappreciation cast a shadow over Mannie Fresh's contributions to Cash Money Records. Upon leaving Cash Money Records, BG reached out to Mannie Fresh, shedding light on the reasons behind his departure. The crux of his discontent stemmed from the absence of royalties despite the immense success and financial gains from hits like Bling Bling. Following a substantial deal with Universal Records, BG and other Hot Boys members purportedly received cars and apartments. However, the financial compensation from Cash Money Records fell short of their expectations. As the premier supergroup of the time, the Hot Boys garnered global attention during their extensive travels and tours. Unfortunately, the young artists found themselves with little to show for their endeavors in terms of financial gains. BG's revelation prompted Mannie Fresh to take action, pressing the Cash Money Record executives for a raise and royalties. Fresh was confident that his creative contributions had played a significant role in generating substantial revenue for the label. In one of his interviews, Mannie Fresh disclosed that he once received an offer from Cash Money Records for a deal that involved recording an album and subsequently embarking on a tour to promote it. He proceeded with the album titled Real Big and hit the road for the promotional tour. However, during the tour, he came to the realization that he was only receiving a quarter of the expected earnings for each show. According to Fresh, when a booking was made, let's say for $60,000, half of that amount, $30,000, would be directed straight to Baby, his big timer's partner and the label owner. The remaining half, $30,000, was then split, resulting in $15,000 for each of them. Mannie Fresh had initially believed that they would receive the full $30,000 together, but in reality, he was only getting a quarter of the total amount. This revelation highlighted a significant disparity in the financial arrangements within the label. Fresh felt betrayed by Baby, whom he considered to be more of brother than a business partner, since they had come long in making Cash Money Records grow to where it was at that time. Mannie Fresh faced a downhill spiral when Hurricane Katrina struck, exacerbating his financial woes and bringing the government after him for unpaid taxes. Despite not receiving a substantial amount from Cash Money Records, the government insisted on seeking funds attributed to him under the label. This became a particularly challenging period for Fresh. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, Mannie Fresh picked himself up and collaborated with Young Jeezy on the song And Then What. He also engaged with other artists, including T.I., demonstrating resilience in the face of adversity. A significant turning point occurred when Fresh made the bold decision to part ways with Cash Money Records, the label he had dedicated much of his career to. Leaving the label wasn't a straightforward process, as Cash Money didn't readily release him. Instead, Fresh was permitted to work only on beats for certain artists. Despite the challenges, leaving Cash Money opened new doors for Mannie Fresh, with numerous artists expressing interest in collaborating with him. Many revealed that during his tenure at Cash Money, they were prevented from reaching out to him for collaboration opportunities. The shift marked a pivotal moment in Mannie Fresh's career, reflecting both the difficulties he faced and his determination to move forward. During a pivotal moment, Mannie Fresh secured a deal with Def Jam through Jay-Z. Fresh then approached Lil Wayne at Cash Money for a collaborative song, which Fresh would produce under Def Jam. They successfully created the track, but as they prepared to release it, Cash Money shut it down, asserting that Mannie Fresh did not get permission from the label. Despite Fresh's efforts to explain that Wayne had given his consent, the response from Cash Money was unequivocal: "Wayne can't speak for Wayne. We speak for Wayne." The fallout from this incident not only left a bitter taste between Mannie Fresh and Cash Money, but also affected Def Jam's perception of the situation. Around the same time, Jay-Z left Def Jam after receiving another offer elsewhere. This left Mannie Fresh in a challenging position at Def Jam, as the person who had brought him to the label had departed. The transition to Def Jam presented Fresh with a starkly different environment, lacking the familial atmosphere he had experienced earlier. In interviews, Fresh revealed that, despite Def Jam having heavyweight artists like Ludacris, Young Jeezy, and Rick Ross, the absence of physical interactions among these talents was striking. Mannie Fresh faced further challenges at Def Jam, as the label restricted his mobility and curtailed his production output compared to his earlier prolific pace. His ideas were frequently dismissed, and the label seemed indifferent to his contributions. Fresh felt he was being penalized, possibly as a fallout from Jay-Z's departure, which had occurred abruptly and unceremoniously. Despite facing numerous challenges, Mannie Fresh remained undeterred. He continued to collaborate with a myriad of artists, including reunions with Juvenile, Rick Ross, and Mystical. Returning to his DJ roots, Mannie Fresh rediscovered the essence of his love for hip-hop. A significant moment came in 2017 when Birdman and Mannie Fresh, collectively known as the Big Timers, reunited. They hosted a homecoming bash at Bud Light Crew HQ during NBA All-Star Weekend in their native New Orleans, Louisiana. This reunion marked a symbolic return to their roots and a celebration of their shared musical journey. In 2023, Birdman made an announcement that sent waves through the hip-hop community. He expressed a willingness to invest $100 million to make a Cash Money reunion tour a reality. The prospect of such a reunion tour has sparked excitement among fans who hope to witness the iconic collaboration of artists and a revival of the legendary Cash Money era. For the sake of their devoted fan base, the anticipation remains high, hoping that this reunion will indeed come to fruition.
Thank you.